Hello, everyone. How's it going? We're Lost Woods. We're like everyone else in lockdown at
Hello.
the moment. Hello, woo. Um, yeah. So, we have very little to do. So we figured, why not pass the time with some movie reviews? Because what else did we get? So we thought we'd review an array of movies. Some good, some bad, some incredible, some like horrendously terrible. So we thought we'd start with a movie from the 80s, Mac and Me. A bit of an iconic movie for some good reasons, some bad. To just describe it, it's pretty much about an alien family who appear to who appear to reside.
Go, continue. Sorry.
About an alien family who appear to reside maybe on a moon or a small planet. It's really hard to say. Anyway, one day they're just on their merry way, and a NASA vessel appears to accidentally maybe abduct them or
Vacuum them, kind of suck them into them somehow.
yeah. So yeah, there's this vacuum scene, and then they're transported back to Earth to a NASA facility where there's a few hijinks and that sort of thing, and they kind of break free from the facility in a way, or maybe just walk out. It's really hard to say if they just let them go, but there's a few hijinks, and Mac, who is the youngest alien within the alien family, he gets separated from his family, and more hijinks, ends up at this household where there's a little adorable child named Eric who begins to encounter Mac.
And no one believes him.
No one believes him. So there's a series of back and forths of him being like, hey, what? There's an alien there. And then the alien is gone, that kind of dealio. Yeah, which is hilarious. It's great. And so it's kind of anyone else? Anyone yes!
Before we really get into it more, I think people should know that this is our third time reviewing this movie because we couldn't figure out how to record ourselves reviewing it.
Yeah,
we suck. Definitely suck.
I blame the software. You know, this ain't our fault.
Yeah.
I blame
Yeah.
Lucas.
Yeah, I mainly blame Lucas.
Yeah.
Right, let's go with that. I'm happy with that.
Yep.
Damn
I'll
Lucas.
back that one up.
Damn Lucas. But thanks for being host of the video. You know, that's really kind. Thank you. Yeah.
I feel
Anyway,
like
back
much
Eric,
better place.
movie.
Yeah. And
Everyone just hates me. They don't believe me.
all right, Eric.
Wait, did you mention that Eric's in a wheelchair?
No, I did not. I didn't get to that actually. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Eric, the main character's in a wheelchair. Surprise.
Yes. Surprise.
spoilers.
Mhm.
The first
So-
thing I have in my notes is there's blinds in the car.
Yes.
You made notes?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I wrote down some things.
So something to note in this movie is that it was sponsored almost entirely by McDonald's, and so McDonald's happens to heavily feature in it all the time. McDonald's and Coca-Cola as well. So there's various scenes where like the aliens will be on the brink of death, like just like withered and horrible, and then they go, quick, give them this, and they just pass them some Coca-Cola and they sip that, and it's almost this just like life force that just brings them back. So Coke is just nailing it in this movie, and as is McDonald's, just saving lives.
There's a 5-minute dance sequence in McDonald's, which is a bit out there. It's also the most enjoyable part of the movie, to be honest. But
Yeah.
it's kind of very heavy on the product placement.
Yeah, it looks like McDonald's actually gave quite a decent amount of money to it, which they blew on pyrotechnics, car crashes, flash mob scenes, but not on the actual alien costumes. They are probably some of the worst looking things I've ever seen created.
Yeah, like they got sort of like a, well, I mean, Mac is basically the little baby of the alien family. So a lot of the times they felt it worthy to just have a puppet because there isn't like a human big enough. So it was just this puppet that had one face only, just this surprised look of just like
the entire time.
Yeah.
Every emotion.
Astonished at all times, pretty much.
Endlessly astonished. And it's really hard to get a lot of depth in in a character when they have
character
one face.
development.
Character development is limited in this movie by a single face the whole time.
What about that racist little girl?
Oh, yes.
Definitely racist.
Oh, no.
Definitely racist.
Yeah.
There's this little girl wearing a Native American clothing, and she wasn't Native American. I don't know. She was in a teepee.
Yeah, the first sight of her is like her in a teepee calling on the native spirits of the land, and then it's not brought up at all again throughout the whole movie. Just great introduction to her.
Not really scenes that would occur in a movie of now.
Yeah, I think I kept asking when it happened, like, is this racist? And pretty much all of you
All
was
of
like, yeah.
Unanimously, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's like the second lead in this movie, pretty much.
Yeah.
And she's introduced as a racist. So it doesn't really give her character much like not much more. No.
Chance. I feel you. I definitely feel you. Yeah, big time. On the topic of like the lead, Eric, I think he did a great job. In that he was adorable. He did seem to have some acting chops.
Well, yeah, the reviews for this movie were like unanimously boom, but the actor that played Eric, like all around the clock, was like praised, which like at the time I didn't really think of it as much.
I'm pretty sure all around the clock isn't a saying.
Yeah, I was hoping no one would notice that.
One of his standout scenes for me is when he's depressed because no one believes that the alien is real. So he rolls to his backyard, which then backs straight onto a cliff face, which he rolls down and ends up diving into a lake, all in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful scene.
It was dramatic, definitely. And I mean, it just how they like played it out. Again, like a budget thing is the budget and where they placed the budget is really interesting. That the way him falling into the lake from a great height, really amazing. It's worth checking out.
Apparently, the kid like did most of the stunts in his own wheelchair.
I found that funny.
No, you can't laugh at that.
Yeah.
Don't laugh at that. What a sap.
I like how everyone blames Eric as well for everything that goes wrong at the start of the film. Like there's the car crash, and then the house gets like infiltrated by the alien who brings all the plants inside, and everyone's just like, Eric, piece of shit.
What? Yeah,
fuck you, Eric.
Destroys the kid in the wheelchair. Yeah, Eric just gives him heaps. Like he apparently like just overnight just got out all these power tools and started like hoeing into the wall.
Yeah, like really high, like picture height on the wall.
Yeah, everyone walks into the room. Yeah, Eric, oh my God, how'd you get up there? But the point is, you did it.
Yeah. You are not the alien.
Tom, you described the aliens best in this film.
They look like Chernobyl burn victims. They just look. They look really gross. Like Yeah,
Yeah.
just like
cheap
emaciated
gross.
people. Yeah, emaciated people, just like covered in burns. And like, I mean, I guess that's a good alien, but I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't make
Yeah.
you sympathize with them because they just look so gross.
Wait, did you say they're good
that's
aliens?
tough run.
What?
Makes for
Did
a
you
good
say they're
alien.
good-looking
You could say.
aliens?
They're good aliens if you want to hate them. But
Yeah.
you're meant to sympathize with them, so it's probably
But
not
then
the
at
best
the end, no one
design.
hates them. No one hates them
Yeah.
because they're granted citizenship into America, wearing like full suit and tie and
That
like given a
fucking
Cadillac.
I was speechless.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an amazing closing scene of just everyone just wiping away tears of like, oh, finally.
Kisses, a lot of kisses,
And,
as well.
yeah,
everyone's
everyone's
kissing
kissing
everyone, kissing
Big
burnt
time.
aliens.
Yeah, yeah. Sort of this weird mixture of burns and like Hans Mole Man and it's just
Yeah.
all sorts of
Hans
rum.
Mole Man is a great description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the best scenes of the film, I gotta say.
Okay, so it seems like McDonald's and I guess Coke probably spent like a hell of a lot of money on this, with the intention of it being a really big hit. Like at the end, they even had them having some bit being like, "We'll be back," sort of like ultimately implying like a sequel. But it obviously flopped beyond belief, and so they won't be back. Ultimately, there's no returning for Mac and me.
So like halfway through the movie, they're being chased by law enforcement and they take refuge in a McDonald's. And then there's a 5-minute dance sequence, like a musical number with like choreographed dance and everything out of nowhere for no reason.
Just a
Like
normal
that
day at
happens all the
McDonald's.
time at Macca's.
Yeah, they're all incredible. They're all amazing dancers.
Really, really good. And Max in a bear
Yeah.
costume, the alien, and
Mm.
he does a front flip onto the front counter,
Yeah.
which is like my favorite CG moment
Yeah.
of the film. Do you reckon
Gosh.
there was like a man in that suit doing the dancing?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
No, it was
They-
actually the puppet alien who was doing it.
No, because
There was
it
bits
seemed
of
like
the movie where I was intrigued on how they actually made Mac move. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Wait,
think
move
I
what?
assume-
Good
He
point.
doesn't,
Yeah.
or not his face or his arms.
Like,
He's just kind of thrown
yeah.
around as a puppet.
But then,
Yeah, I mean, there's
on
many-
the McDonald's
yeah.
scene, the feds rock up and then they chase Eric and Mac for a long time. Eric's in his wheelchair. Actually, that's my favorite bit of the whole film, when Eric's like trying to get away from them and then drives down the hill. Straight
Yeah.
into a wooden fence. And breaks straight through it. And then it's just an
Yeah.
endless sprint for 5 minutes.
But none of the feds seem to break a sweat or like it's just like the one chase cutscene that they were able to get with them and just keep splicing it in every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That's
And
just what they were born to do, those guys.
Yeah.
Sprint.
And that's-
Oh.
And it's heavily reminiscent as well of E.T. Only instead of
Yes.
the kid riding a bike taking away E.T. from the feds, it is Eric in a wheelchair taking away an alien from the feds.
It is a carbon
So-
copy. Actually, when did E.T. come out? Because this movie
Like
came out-
70s, late
Yeah,
70s, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I reckon.
Came out in 88.
Mm.
So they definitely
Yeah.
had seen it. They knew where they were getting their inspiration.
Oh yeah.
E.T. came out in 82.
Oh,
And
okay.
this was 88, right?
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
just figured they'd lay low for 6 years and then make another
No one will
E.T.
notice. They would have forgotten about E.T.
Yeah.
E.T.'s not a big movie. It's fine.
Yeah.
I like the review comparisons. E.T. It's got 91 on Metacritic and 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, whereas Mac and Me has 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Damn, no one thought it was possible.
I think a big contributing factor to that is the soundtrack for the movie.
Yeah.
There is just a brilliant scene where somehow Mac hijacks like this little go-kart and ends up being chased by about 50 dogs down the street. But then the scene cuts to Eric and his mum going for like a leisurely jog, and just epic soundtrack to it. And that's it. Like, we don't actually really find out what happens to Mac or the dogs. just cut to a romantic walk with mother and son.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Big
to say
wailing
about that
electric
scene. I was very
guitars.
confused when we watched it, wasn't I?
I think we all were.
I
Yeah.
think I was screaming, "What is going on?"
Yeah. Many weird segues throughout this entire thing.
I think the real message of this movie is that Coke saves lives.
Yes, it does.
Big time. Yeah.
And Mac is held like a dance
Is that
academy.
what you went away for? Just to go?
No.
I think near the ending, there's like a good explosion. I really like the explosion at the end.
Yeah, and they probably would have gone through about 50 cars as well. Like, cars crashing into cars and spinning over the top, and that's where their budget went. They did all those scenes first and then realized they had to make an alien afterwards.
Like, oh my god, yeah, we're gonna make this puppet. One face, I reckon. One face the whole time. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, the director was like, "One face or nothing."
Or I walk.
I'm out of here.
But yeah, great movie.
Brilliant.
Was it?
Yeah.
I hated this movie. I was
But every
so
10
bored.
minutes, you were just sitting there going, "Is it finished? When does it end?"
I think I was screaming at the computer for half of it.
Yeah. It's a good 100 minutes.
Like 3 scenes that people need to
Yeah.
check out for this movie.
The Macca's dance,
Yeah.
him falling off the cliff into the lake.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other one?
I like the chase scene.
Maybe the chase scene. Yeah.
I think that was awesome.
Yeah.
And while also they chase him into a convenience store where he blows up like 20 TVs.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Oh, that's another thing. Mac has like electrical powers. So he can kind of
Probably from the Coke.
probably from the Coke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's never
Channeling
explained.
yeah, not really. Just happens to be an alien, and aliens have the power of electricity.
Tom, what do you think of the
Yeah.
movie?
Say again, sorry?
What did you think of the movie?
It's possibly one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It was a long hour and a half, or however long it went for. Just yeah, I regret I'll never get that time back. But it was alright.
Oh, I think if you're like an up and coming movie maker or director or anything, watch this so you can learn what not to do when making a movie. I think they make every flaw possible. So it's a good learning exercise.
Yeah, I give it.
We should mention Jennifer Aniston is uncredited in the background of the McDonald's scene.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's a weird fact.
What about you, Pete?
Yeah, well, look, I had a good time. I think another scene worthy of watching is the them becoming American citizens at the end as well.
God, yes.
That was just so enjoyable. And like the feds who have been chasing them for the whole movie are clearly like getting quite emotional. And then there's like these moments of like them tearing up as well. And then a more stern fed is like, "Hey, get serious." Like it's very entertaining just to see how the world or how America embraced these aliens. Yeah, so
Who have
definitely check
only
that one
been
out.
there for like 2 days, by the way. This all happens
Yeah,
like in no time at all.
It's very short.
yeah.
Time spent in this film, eh?
And the weird thing about, I guess, just every like all the people they encounter, there's just this blur of like some people getting scared and others just like going past and go like, "Oh hey, it's an alien," like not really phased. So not a lot of consistency there.
What about me?
Sam, what about you, Sam? What do you think
What
about
about you?
It was
elaborate, Sam, please.
a truly horrible experience, and the audacity at the end of the movie is to be like, "See you next time." I was like, no, they should never consider making that a sequel to that movie ever again. That was alright. I don't know.
Still in talks to like make a sequel to this or to continue it.
We need to sign petitions to not let that happen.
Yeah.
Really can't let them do another one of these.
The only reason I'd want to see a sequel is if they had like the original cast still playing the same character.
The original puppet.
Oh, and
Yes.
that as well. Pretty much like the same story, but told like while they're 50 years old, you know?
That would be great.
Everyone yelling at Eric. Eric! You've ruined everything again.
Illinois.
That's it. Everyone's excuse for when something bad happened about the alien. Oh, he's from Illinois.
Piece of shit. Have a guess how much it made. So actually, the budget for this film. Have a guess how much the budget was.
Oh, was it $13 million?
How did you know that?
This is the third time we've done this.
But then have a guess how much it
$13 million.
made. Can you remember that?
Was it 6.4 million?
Yeah, how
dollars?
did you know? Only 6. It was nominated for 4 Golden Raspberry Awards.
What are they?
Those are like the Oscars each year of bad films. So they got awards for worst director and worst new star, which was for Ronald McDonald. Widely regarded. I like this actually. On Wikipedia, it says it's widely regarded as one of the worst ever made. It just leaves it off.
not film.
Just open.
Worst.
Just the worst anything made.
Ever made. Yeah.
That's great.
So it's a great way.
But yeah,
for us
if you've
to,
got a spare couple of hours, treat yourself. Mac and me. It's definitely something.
The director Stuart Raphael would go on to direct other hits like Mannequin 2 and Tammy and the T-Rex.
Those hits, eh?
So yeah, definitely that movie kicked some goals, and no, it didn't at all. It was it was horrendous. We had fun reviewing it, and all having a terrible time watching it. It was good.
Well, sign us off, Pete, like you do every week.
Kind of stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, great to have you here, and have a good time. Stay safe and be good.